Well, welcome to Quick Wins for ADHD Moms. Hey, I'm Jessica Lynn Lewis, and today is part 2 of Carol's Quick Wins. If you were here last week, you got to hear her quick win from last week, so make sure you listen to that episode. And she's here again. She's a certified professional coach and keynote speaker, a mother of 4 boys, and she's here to support neurodiverse children as they navigate their family journeys. She relies on real-world experience, and she's got lots of it, to help motivate parents who are struggling to raise children who don't fit the mold. And that's probably why you're listening, because you realize your children don't quite fit the mold. So you can find her at familypathwayscoaching.com. Carol, thank you so much for being on again. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be here again, Jessica. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. What is your quick win for this week?
Yes, so my quick win has to do with laundry day because if you're a mom, you probably do a lot of laundry. And one of the most annoying things is socks, underwear, who goes, to which socks and which underwear and how does it all fit together? So here's my quick win. Go to the store and buy a dozen pair of the exact same socks for each child, but a different, slightly different for each child so that you can tell which socks go with which child. So one child has gray socks, ankle height, the other has white. And same thing with underwear. You can choose a color, you can choose a pattern or a style, but make sure that each child it's distinct and easy to tell who belongs to who. For boys, it might be a little easier. They can wear the exact same color socks every single day. Sometimes girls are going to want to have different colors, different styles, depending on their outfits. And so just again, find something that makes each child's distinct. You can use just, a particular brand for example, but the key again is to have it so you can just quickly see who belongs to what pair.
Yes, that's brilliant. And I'll tell you, I used to buy the same brand for my boys. They're different sizes, but you can't tell the sizes when you're pulling them out and you're folding them.
No.
And my son would always be like, ew, these are Owens, or oh, these are Truett's.
Right.
So,
And I will tell you the other thing that also makes it simple in terms of socks, if you have the exact same, you don't have to worry about matching socks, which can
oh,
drive
yes.
a parent crazy.
Yes, absolutely. I'm like, you get gray or you get white. And then I love that you said go and buy a lot of them, because I've gone to buy more and then I can't find the same thing later. Like they're gone, they've updated their stock, and it's so frustrating.
Right, right, right. Get a bunch all at once.
Get a bunch all at once. Well, I love it. That's such a great I the amount of time that it saves you right there is
And
amazing.
aggravation.
And aggravation and possible fights, right? If we can cut down on the possible fights, everybody wins. Yeah. Well, Carol, you're also a coach. You work with families, a lot of families. Can you go into the coaching process and tell us, what that's like? Because ADHD moms are busy. They probably don't think about, if I got coaching, would that help? Do I have time to go, be with a coach? Just tell me your process and why it's so important to add
Yeah,
that.
thank you so much for asking, Jessica.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing about coaching is that sometimes when we're most in need of that support and that assistance, it's hardest for us to kind of lift our heads up enough. We're barely staying keeping our heads above
Hmm.
water, and that's when we need help the most. But if you can do that, if you can raise your head, look around, you'll find that there really is a lot of support, and it can make a really big difference in people's lives, in your personal life, in your family life, in the relationships that you have. So the process for coaching that I use is the first thing is, and I work with, just to reiterate, I work with parents of neurodiverse kids.
Wonderful.
So that certainly includes ADHD kids,
Hmm.
as well as all of the other um, developmental issues that fall under that great big neurodiverse umbrella. Um, it also is not unusual when my clients, they're coming in to discuss issues that they're having at home with their kids and raising their neurodiverse kids. They also may be neurodiverse. Might be, not unusual to have an ADHD mom who has an ADHD child. Obviously, we know that. So the process is the first thing that we do is to figure out what are the goals. You can come in and you can just say, I don't know, life is crazy, life is hectic. The school isn't helping. There are many, many
Hmm.
different issues that can come up. And the key is figuring out what are the goals and then prioritizing them. So we know, what do we want to work on? What do we want to tackle first? Sometimes it's the biggest, most pressing or urgent issue. Times it's we want a quick win.
Yeah.
So, and then we can move on to some of the other things. So first thing is to figure out the goal. The second thing is to figure out what are the obstacles that are getting in the way of achieving that goal. Sometimes it's the way that we are looking at a situation. Sometimes it's not knowing where to start and how to address a situation. But we have to figure out what's that obstacle. And then together, we put a plan in place to actually achieve those. So that's the process. And as I said before, it can be life changing to be able to address if you have a home, a family life that's in chaos. It can be, really challenging. And the idea of working with a coach, sometimes, we have a friend or a family member that we talk to, but they're going to have their own perspective, their own take
Yeah.
on what they think is the right way to go about a problem. Um, and it's their perspective. It's not necessarily yours. And the thing about coaching is um, the idea is that the answers are you have the answers inside. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of finding them and figuring out what's going to work in your situation. What might work in
Mm.
my home isn't necessarily going to work in your home, Jessica, for a whole host of different reasons. So the key is to figure out what's going to work for your family, for your life, for your child, and for yourself.
Yeah. And it takes time to think about that. And I like that as a coach, you're there to not only pull information out of them and give them a different perspective, but you're also there, you're taking time with them that they don't think they have. But to be able to strategize something, it takes time. And so it's really investing in that time to put a structure together. And you probably don't need to go to coach for the rest of your life. But how
Right.
how long does a coaching
Yes.
relationship last?
Sure. So, as with so many things, it can vary. I find that the sweet spot is to work for 9 sessions, which is over a 3-month period. And I find that's the sweet spot because it gives us time to get to know one another. To I want my clients to trust me, and then we can dig into what the issues are and then resolve the issues. Not
Hmm.
everybody has the opportunity to work for 9 sessions. Well, as I said,
Yeah.
that can vary, but for me, I feel like that's really the sweet spot. And I have clients who come back if there's a future, they're work for a while and then they come back another time because there's something else that has come up. And I have also had clients that we've worked for just a few sessions on a very particular issue that they're dealing with. But you said something really important, which is that it's investing the time. And
Mm.
and it does take time. It does mean that you have to find an hour a week to sit down and work with a coach, work with me. Um, and yet, if you spend that time, you might find that the rest of your time is smoother, more productive, and happier.
I love that. It's just taking the time to try it, right?
Yeah.
It's worth a try. So I know you've got four neurodiverse boys. And, looking back over your life, was there a key moment or, a story that just kind of hit you that just really transformed the way you thought about your kids and raising them?
Yeah, there have been so many moments, flashpoints, that have become turning points. Um,
Mm,
I'll give you just one example. So as you mentioned, I have 4 sons. They all fit under that neurodiverse umbrella. All 4 of them have ADHD. And so I will say getting them out the door in the morning was hectic, to say the very least. And I just remember uh, one story that to really. So one of my sons was still a toddler. He was old enough that he was able to dress himself, but he was still pretty young. I'm running around, get everybody breakfast, make sure everybody has their clothes. I'd run into his room. Here's your clothes. Put your clothes on. Run out to take care of whoever else needed something. And boom, massive temper tantrum. He would completely melt down morning after morning after morning. And of course, that's, it's painful to hear
exhausting.
and watch and frustrating and annoying and all of those things that you don't want when you're trying to get the kids out the door and you feel like you're on a timeline. That bus is showing up. so, it was really challenging for a while, until I went in one morning and I looked at him. He was crying. And I looked at him and I said, "Do you need a hug?" And he said, "Yeah." And
Mm,
I sat down and I just hugged him. We just hugged for a minute. Um, didn't take a lot of time. And it was all that he needed to regroup himself and to feel
mm.
seen and to feel like he was ready to start his day. And that became part of our routine. I'd go in,
Oh, I love that.
We'd hug for a minute. I'd say, "Okay, are you ready to get dressed?" I'd give him his clothes. Um, and it transformed our mornings.
Oh, wow. Just one simple little hug
Yeah.
completely
And
transformed.
moms will understand this. When you transform your morning, you transform your whole day.
Yeah, that sets the tone for the
It
entire
really
day.
does. Yeah.
Wow. So take time for a hug.
Yeah.
I love that. That's beautiful.
I
Thank
like
you
that. Take
for
time for a hug.
take time for a hug. That's a t-shirt, right? Aw. Well, Carol, thank you so much for sharing your quick win and sharing your stories and your coaching process. We're just in the middle of chaos and trying to process all of these things. And I just want a space where moms can just take a moment to get the encouragement and the nourishment that they need. So I appreciate that you're on the show and that you're a part of it. So,
Great. Great. Happy
well,
to be here.
where can people find you or how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, sure. So they can email me at carol@familypathwayscoaching.com. Um, Website is familypathwayscoaching.com. And I am also on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. Reach out. I love talking to people. I love having conversations.
Wonderful. And where are you located?
I'm located in New York. I work
You're in New York. Yeah.
remotely, so I can work with anybody, um,
Wonderful.
anywhere. And we were talking a little bit about, how much, taking time out of our busy days and our busy schedules. And that's why I work remote, is because this way you don't have to add the time to drive to the appointment or
Yeah.
drive home for the appointment. And we talk online.
It's kind of fit it in. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much, Carol, for being here.
great. Thank you.